crossing over to Israel through the King Hussein Bridge.
There are several border crossing options between Jordan and Israel. I opted for this land border, and the drive between the two borders was around 15 minutes. It was a last-minute decision to drop by Jerusalem for a couple of days. Upon reaching the Israel side, the immigration center was packed with locals and tourists.
Yes, I made it. I finally crossed to the Israel side. It was almost 2 hours, a lot of queues and a lot of checks. My bag was taken to another counter to do a further screening. And okay, immigration was fine. Not much questions asked. Alright, so this is the Israel side.
My pre-arranged driver took me to the old city. As cars were not allowed in the old city, I went to search for my hotel on foot. The hotel that I booked online is located on the busy streets, and it's easy to miss it if you don't look out for the signboard.
This is my room for one night in Jerusalem. Not much of a view, but it's okay, just for one night. And I won't be in my room. I'll be out exploring. I'm finally in Jerusalem, and this is the view from the rooftop bar, the old city of Jerusalem.
I found a nearby restaurant to have a quick bite.
This is chickpeas, falafel.
After a simple meal, I wasted no time to visit a very special site. I've always wanted to see the Western Wall. The scenes of Jews rocking to the rhythm of their prayers in front of the wall have left a deep impression on me. And I've always wondered what it would be like to see it in person. After clearing the checkpoint manned by armed soldiers, I finally reached the wall. As I drew closer to the wall, I heard a voice. A local stopped me from going further and started to give me a lecture. Today is Saturday, which is Sabbath to the Jews. On this day, the Jews refrain from work and observe strict rules like no usage of electrical devices. In other words, no photo taking is allowed on the compound on their religious site. Slightly embarrassed, I decided to join a free walking tour so that I can find out more about the city and the do's and don'ts. The free tour lasted 3 hours and worth every penny. I did give a tip at the end, as the guide was very informative and clear in his narration.
You can see the old city. We're extending here at Jaffa Gate. Here we can see a few of the other gates around. The old city is very small. It's only 1 square kilometer. 1 square kilometer, but inside this kilometer we have over 40,000 people living, divided into 4 quarters. So we have Armenian quarter, Christian quarter, Jewish quarter, and Muslim quarter. The Muslim quarter is the largest, over 30,000 of the people living here, living in the Muslim quarter. This here, we'll talk about a little bit later, this is the Temple Mount or Al-Aqsa Mosque. We'll get down there and I'll explain to you a little bit more what it is. Questions, anything?
The walking tour includes the major sites of the old city, but 3 hours are definitely not enough to cover everything the city has to offer. After the walking tour has ended, I explore further on my own. I was in Milan many years ago to see the painting by Da Vinci, The Last Supper. So this is the actual place where the Last Supper took place. So this kind of complete my journey searching for the Last Supper. The Via Dolorosa, the sorrowful way or way of the sufferings, traces the path that Jesus would have taken, forced by the Roman soldiers, on the way to his crucifixion. The different stations are marked on the wall, and there are 14 of them altogether.
Okay, and you see over here, this is like a hand. Okay, it looks like a hand. According to the tradition, this is the case for Jesus died in order not to fall down. Okay, that's why people are coming here, putting their hand and taking pictures. So you are invited to do that.
This is the spot where it was believed Jesus rested his hand on the wall. The last few stations are situated in the Church of the Holy Sepulcher. This ladder has remained in the same position since the 18th century as a result of the status quo. Under the altar, you can reach in to touch the spot where the cross was believed to be placed. On this stone, the body of Christ was laid down after being removed from the crucifix and prepared for burial. A long queue to see the tomb of Jesus. Photo taking was disallowed inside. Maybe it was to discourage people from taking too long a time inside the tomb. I returned the next day to the Western Wall. This is the Western Wall, or also commonly known as the Wailing Wall, where the Jews will be praying. I've written a small little wish on a piece of note, and I'm going to put it in the cracks of the wall. I returned to the wall in the evening. I took a yarmulke. Men are expected to cover the head with a yarmulke or any headdress as a sign of respect. This is a reminder that the higher being is above you. This practice is different from other religions, where headdress are to be removed when entering their places of worship. It seems that I'm the only tourist around, but they don't seem to be bothered by my presence. Beyond the wall, once stood the Charades temple, which was destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE. The western wall is what remains of the temple's compound. The Jews come to this site to mourn the destruction of the temple and their loss of national freedom. This practice earned its name, the Wailing Wall. The remaining wall is about 19 meters high and more than 400 meters long. It is common to observe that a lot of Jews rock their bodies when praying. The men pray on this side of the wall, while the women on the right side, separated by a divider. The yarmulke keeps falling off, so I put back my cap. It is fine as long as your head is covered. In the men's section, there are prayer rooms where the Torah scrolls are preserved. There's a library of religious texts, and devoted Jews spend hours studying them. There are very few tourists at night at the Western Wall. The night visit is authentic, spiritual, and the most unique experience that I will remember for a very long time. Walking back to my hotel, many locals were gathered in the shops watching the World Cup, and cheers echoed through these streets that have stood for around 5,000 years. The Muslim quarter is the largest quarter in the old city. It is lively and the streets remind me of the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul.
How much is this? How much?
I make a pit stop to try this highly recommended local dessert that is popular in the Middle Eastern countries.
Thank you. Okay. It's warm. It's not too sweet. Quite nice.
I follow the path leading to Temple Mount, having to clear security once again. The Dome of the Rock is an Islamic shrine located on Temple Mount. It is the site where Muslims believe the Prophet Muhammad rose to heaven. For the Jews, they believe it is also the site where the Holy Temple once stood. This site also holds significance to the Christians, as it was mentioned in the Bible. Non-Muslims are not allowed to enter the building. An adjacent structure, Dome of the Chain, somewhat resembles what the Dome of the Rock will look like inside. There is disagreement to the idea that it is built as a scale model of the Dome of the Rock. Both men and women need to serve in the army in Israel.
Thank you.
You have to.
For how many years?
Yes, for 2 years, or 8 months. Yeah, 2 years and 8 months. But it depends on the job you have in the army.
Right.
Some parts more time, some less.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Ten shekel pomegranate, orange juice, lemon, 10 shekel, $3, €3 will come. Fresh 10 shekels, $3, €3 will come. Pomegranate, orange juice, lemon, 10 shekel, $3, €3 will come. Fresh 10 shekel. Fresh 10 shekel, $3, €3, pomegranate, orange juice, lemon, 10 shekel, $3, €3 will come. 10 shekel, $3, €3.
2 pomegranates freshly squeezed for $3.
Okay, how much again?
10 shekel.
Okay, thank you.
Freshly squeezed pomegranate juice. Slightly sour, slightly sweet. Quite nice. I returned back to Jordan late at night. Although it was a short 2 days visit to the old city of Jerusalem, I was glad that I made the impromptu decision to make this trip possible. I hope I will have the chance to return and to see many more sights that the country has to offer beyond the old city.